Hello and welcome to Winchester News Online. I'm Charlie Swadling, and on today's bulletin, financial issues continue as mortgages carry on surging in the UK. And stick around for some seasonal spooks from Sunnyfield Farm's annual pumpkin event. Mortgage prices are rising, which adds to the cost of living crisis in the UK. We head over to our reporter Oshan Davis for more information on these issues.
Mortgage prices have continuously risen over the last few years, which has only made it more difficult for first-time buyers to buy a house. With the price of living continuously going up and the price of mortgages following in the same suit, it has only added to the financial problems of the UK.
I think it's part of a much bigger picture of rising costs for people, and I think it's really going to hurt people.
I think it'll make it a lot harder for younger people to get houses.
Well, it's going to be terrible for young people. I mean, it's hard enough, even the 30-somethings getting on the property ladder. It's going to make it virtually impossible.
All the prices in the UK are just going up throughout every market at the moment. And sending the mortgage prices up is the government's way of trying to combat that. The average 5-year fixed rate a year ago, the interest rate was 1.99%. Today, the rate is 5.99%. It'll affect the people that don't have so much money. And the people that do have money, it will cost them more, but they will probably still do it.
With the price of living rising and mortgages going up too, it leaves the people of the UK worried about their financial future. Oshan Davis, Winchester News Online.
As Vladimir Putin ramps up his attempts to cause chaos and destruction in Ukraine, we return to Harry Turberfield for an update on how 6 local volunteers are doing their part to help those affected by the Russian onslaught.
After a day of crossing borders and long drives, I caught up with Finn at our hotel for the night, who gave an insight into the details of our final day of the trip.
We're going to make our way to Przemysl, which is on the border, Poland to Ukraine, a place that I've spent a lot of time in. Obviously all the refugees were piling out of Ukraine to this main small city at the start of the war, so it became a bit of a hub for refugees, humanitarian aid, different kind of volunteers.
After a well-earned rest in Krakow, the crew set off to Przemysl after a quick stop at a Canadian household in Tarnów, who, like Finn and his charity, commit themselves to donating a variety of supplies to Ukrainian aid centres to benefit those worst affected by the Russian onslaught in the country.
Rooms just filled with supplies to be taken over to Ukraine. Boots, bottles of milk, food, face masks, body bags. There's loads here that's all ready to be donated.
After some last-minute donations from the household, including 100 body bags and some clothes, the crew made their way to Przemysl to deliver supplies to Sergei, an independent donator based close to the Ukrainian border, who personally drives supplies to major cities in the country, as well as delivering ambulances to Maxim, who accepts vehicle donations in order to repaint them and send them to the front lines of the war in order to offer transport, aid, and in this case, 3 ambulances which will be used to transport casualties to hospitals and provide on-site medical treatment.
We collected money for cars, buy cars for our friends on the front line, and these guys help us to conflict it, and it looks amazing, I think.
For the time being, the team's journey to Ukraine was complete. Harry Turberfield, Winchester News Online.
Winchester is set to host its first ever Districts Climate Assembly later this month, with the hopes of tackling climate issues and the cost of living crisis. The event will be hosted by Winchester Together for Our Planet and encourages anyone who works, lives or studies in Winchester to get involved. We go to our reporter Naona McGee, who is chatting to a member of the Assembly team about what we can expect from the event.
Thanks, yeah, so I'm here with Stuart from the Environmental Alliance Project. Stuart, what can you tell us about what we can expect from the event? What's the day going to look like?
Yeah, so the day will have a number of aspects to it. People will come in, get sat down, and then they'll be greeted with a few talks from industry experts throughout the day on varying topics around the climate crisis. A particular focus of this year's Climate Assembly is around the cost of living and how sustainability sort of plays into that. And then after that, we'll go into a bit of a lunch break, and then we'll come back for some deliberation and sort of talking and discussing a few of the elements based on, particular interests people may have. So it's going to be a really interesting day where people can start to learn about, different aspects of the climate crisis and how they can influence the local area decisions and stuff.
Amazing. And why is it so important that the people of Winchester get involved with this project?
So people's climate assemblies are very important because it really involves the people's voice. Obviously, a lot of the electoral members in the area have their own manifesto which they work to, and that's a kind of presumed what people might want. With this, they're actually able to come to an event, really learn about what issues they're facing in the environment and obviously their local community, and then actually make an informed decision on what's best for their local district. So obviously we're inviting members from Winchester District, not just from Winchester, but out in Alresford, Bishop Sutton, all the areas surrounding that, and really asking people to give us their informed view and say, what do you want to see?
Amazing. Well, Stuart, thank you so much for chatting with me. Now, if you'd like to get involved and want to be part of the discussion, you can go online to register your interest and attend the event in person, which is taking place on the 22nd of October at the Guildhall in Winchester from 10 a.m. until 4:30.
The Winchester Gurkha Museum has today announced plans for a £3.7 million renovation. The museum has showcased the Gurkha's history for 32 years, but they have made an appeal for a £2 million fund to take the museum to the next level and better capture the history of the Nepalese. The plans are expected to be completed within the next 3 years. Winchester Today has announced they are moving on to a new radio network with 17 other local radio stations. This is the first round of stations to be added to the new DVA Plus network, with Winchester at the forefront of innovation. Alistair English went to the opening of a new era for the station.
On DAB across the city.
The long wait. Winchester Today started as a newspaper back in 2012 with a small online radio station. Now, 10 years later, Winchester Today is at the cutting edge of radio broadcasting as they move on to the DAB Plus network.
Today is a very special day in many ways. Today, 8th of October, is the anniversary of when commercial radio was born in this country, back in 1973. We put the application in 2 years ago exactly. We got the licence 1 year ago exactly this week. And then today, everyone came and it was brilliant and it was everything I could have wished for.
With competition purely friendly, as Winchester Today and Winchester Radio provide stories for each other, the new DAB Plus network will only improve listening figures.
So today, this small-scale DAB means that really small stations from non-profit and commercial broadcasters can now broadcast just to the City of Winchester. So it makes it a lot more affordable, and it means that no stations are left behind now. So we're bringing lots of new formats to the city and just increasing listener choice.
This is round one to get local radio stations on DAB+, and it is greatly received by a whole host of listener and talker.
Radio is a friend, when I was a health minister I remember, loneliness is a killer and radio is a constant friend, and it was a great friend to me when I was learning my trade as a journalist, and it's a great friend to many, many people who live on their own especially.
Winchester Today has just become a DAB Plus station. It joins a small amount of stations, but there are many more to come. Lots in attendance today. There's the leader of the council, Martin Todd, Steve Brine, and lots of people here happy for the radio station. Alistair English, Winchester News Online.
The campus bookshop on the King Alfred Quarter closed before the start of semester. Having had an easily accessible bookshop for decades, Winchester students are now having to look elsewhere. Harry Jewell reports.
This is the site of the old bookshop on the University of Winchester campus. Until last semester, it was the go-to place for students to find essential books. The bookshop has since closed.
It's quite an expensive bookshop to start with. Doesn't really have the full range of stuff that I would expect a bookshop to have. Get most of my stuff online or in second-hand shops.
Absolutely rubbish. You have to walk 10 minutes to get to it, and especially as coming from a different town, you don't know where to go or where anything is in the town.
While the P&G Wells bookshop on campus has closed, there remains a P&G Wells bookshop open in the city.
Just in the last 2-3 years, while the world has changed somewhat. We've seen that trend massively accelerate. So we think we've lost sort of 10 years of steady decline in just a couple of years.
The closure of the university bookshop has been a bit of a page-turner, but unfortunately for the university students, a chapter has come to an end. Harry Jewell, Winchester News Online.
Anonymous artist Hendog takes to the streets of Winchester with his latest artwork. Amelia Hopkinson reports.
On the 5th of October, people of Winchester woke up to a brand new piece of artwork from anonymous artist Hendog. Chapter 1, We're Going on a Bear Hunt. The piece features a teddy bear carrying a stick and a handkerchief containing possessions on the gates of the farmer Early & Sons Coal Merchants building on Chesil Street.
Currently stood in front of the farmer Early & Sons Coal Merchants, which was a supplier of fuel to thousands of people for several decades. The building behind me has not been in commercial use since the mid-1980s, and it is set to be demolished when the Chesil Theatre expands its space next to the medieval church. However, it is now the home of Hendog's first piece of art in his brand new series.
The series is based on a true story of an ex-homeless person I met a while back. I wanted to tell a story people could relate to, in a hope it would give more context and less prejudgment to the many people who currently live on the streets. I decided to tell the story more like a children's book written for adults. It will follow a bear who has lost its owner, and while trying to find his way back to her, he loses himself.
Hendog's work can be found in many places in Winchester. Girl with Sunflower can be found just off the High Street on Market Street. Lego Boy is also nearby to the High Street on the wall of the Bento factory. Christmas Kev was painted at the rear end of Winchester bus station, pointing towards the Guild Hall. Slightly further out of the town centre on Water Lane is where Puller Boy was painted during the summer of 2021. Hendog has also created a piece of artwork at the Handlebar Cafe, which he dedicated on Instagram to all the mums.
It was better than posters that have been torn down there.
I find it slightly irritating.
As Hendog said, this is just the start of his new series, so keep your eyes peeled for the lost teddy bear. Amelia Hopkinson, Winchester News Online.
With Halloween just around the corner, our reporter Owen Noon was at Sunnyfield Farm to see what scary surprises they have on offer this year.
As the temperature drops and Halloween draws closer, Sunnyfields Farm in Totton have opened their doors once again for their annual pumpkin event, Pumpkin Time. This year, the Pumpkin Pyramid has taken the spotlight with a classy homage paying its respects to the Queen.
So it's Paddington this year. We always leave it very late to choose the design because you never know what's going to happen, and obviously the Queen passed and it was our way of saying thank you by doing a Paddington mural. It's all been positive so far. It's been particularly warm this week and last week, so people are lingering longer. It feels more like a summer event, but we've had good feedback, but we will keep adding some more displays as we go into the nighttime days as well.
This is also a very exciting year for Sunnyfields, but on a different level, as this orange pumpkin is currently the second largest fruit ever recorded on Earth, weighing in at 2,656 pounds. The giant white pumpkin they had on show also just missed out on the world record for the biggest fruit ever.
Sunnyfield officially opened for Halloween on the 1st of October last weekend. The pumpkins and theming on display will continue to change throughout the month, meaning that every time you come may be a different experience.
You know, I think the display's really good. I think the tribute they've done for the Queen is really lovely, and I do know that a lot of the kids will appreciate it as well.
Yeah, it's really special. I brought my son for the first time last year. He was only 4 months old, so it's definitely something that, well, I've brought him again this year. We're going to keep doing it as a tradition. What they do is amazing.
Owen Noon, Winchester News Online.
And that's all today. Thank you for watching. See you again next week.